All right, we're live.
All right.
It's the media virus spreading all around. We're a pack of morons stuck here on the ground. They feed us the lies while we just stand by, drowning in the noise as the truth walks by. It's the media violence taking control.
All right, folks. Our next guest is proof that you can rock the mic, change minds, and keep it real, all while breaking down the stigma around autism. At age 4, Sam Mitchell was diagnosed with autism, and instead of letting the world tell him what he couldn't do, he turned around and built something that rocks harder than most of the bands you know, the Autism Rocks and Rolls podcast. Since launching in 2019, Sam's show has topped the charts, won awards, and featured everyone from NASCAR drivers to WWE legends and Dr. Temple Grandin, all while reminding the world that there's no such thing as normal, and we're better for it. He's a podcast host, a motivational speaker, entrepreneur, TED Talk veteran, and if you listen to his show, he'll coach you on editing your podcast without making you cry. With over 144 episodes and 21,000 downloads, Sam's on a mission to show that success with autism isn't just possible, it's unstoppable. Please welcome the founder of Autism Rocks and Rolls, the man who says, "I'm not broken, I don't need to be fixed," Sam Mitchell. How you doing, Sam?
Hey, everybody. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on, my friend.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us your time. We really appreciate it. What we do here, Sam, is, we kind of run everything through AI. AI does a lot of our research. AI does a lot of our script writing. And AI's prepared a couple of questions. All right.
All right.
So
AI entail.
All right. So, Sam, you were diagnosed with autism at age 4. If you could sit down with your younger self, what's the biggest myth about autism that you would bust for him right away?
I would say the biggest myth I would bust for my 4-year-old self is I'm going to be fine, because at 4 years old, I was a lost kid. I was lost. I didn't know who I was, what my interests were. I thought what I was doing was right. Everyone else is doing the wrong idea. I like professional wrestling. That's all my savior was. Nothing else made sense.
Huh. So with professional wrestling, it's interesting because you started to ask me, pre-show, you started to ask me about, my son, and he was very interested in wrestling, like at first, and then we used to hang out. I used to call them the Ron Domansky Wrecking Crew. They were these two brothers, and these brothers they'd watch wrestling, and the brothers would then start to kick the crap out of each other while they were wrestling. Like while they were watching wrestling, they would start doing this stuff, and then they would start doing it to Ryan, and then Ryan didn't know that everybody was playing, so he'd get pissed off and hurt somebody, and you'd have to. So we had to kind of wean him off of wrestling because of the
violence.
The violence.
Oh, I did the same issue. Mine was 8 years old, ripping off my shirt like Hulk Hogan because I was mad at my mother.
But I got lost. I'm sorry.
No, I think we got to the root of that one. That was I think that's all you want to do for that 4-year-old self when you think about that scenario. It's going to be fine.
I was doing some pre-show work, and I listened to your latest episode, and Raiden
Smith, she won the Phenomenon Awards, and she won last year's. Funny enough, though, I found out about it, and I voted my mother this year for the Phenomenon Awards. We go, and we didn't think anything of it. We thought we'd get a nice meal, but she didn't think she'd win. Well, turns out they got enough votes, and the board of the nonprofit we went through, or the nonprofit that did the awards, picked her as the winner.
Oh, wow.
So your mom was a Phenomenal Mom Award winner?
Yes, 2025 of this year.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations.
We didn't expect it. Like, we thought the other lady was going to win. Just because we thought she's more familiar with the group. She probably fits in better than us, but they liked us apparently. So, but she won the other one. And when we went to this year's award, her and I just hit off really well, Grandin and myself. And she's from the same hometown as I am from, which is Indiana. I'm in a different part of Indiana, so Southern Central. She's more up north in Indy, which I think you know where that is.
Yeah. So you've said I'm not broken and don't need to be fixed. Has there ever been a time where you felt society or just, the people around you were trying extra hard to like fix you? And how did you handle it?
Oh yeah, every time, brother, because of just some of these out of the box ideas I thought get looks at for. But in my brain, it's like I have to do it. I have to do this so I can think out of the box. And yeah, does it make me mad that I get looks or odd judges? Yeah, because it's like, what else do you want me to do? I can conform to some things in society, but there's some stuff I'm not going to bend on.
Yeah.
And what else do you want me to do? Because if I conform to this rule, it's not going to work.
Yeah. No, now see, I'm also like, I'm guilty, like being the parent of an autistic child when he was growing up. I'm very guilty of, we need to fix, trying to fix it. And it was actually, it was the divorce and everything that came from that got me to a level of acceptance to where it was just, we got to help him. He thinks differently. That's what we've always, like, he's never heard the word autism come out of our mouths. We've never said it to him. Your brain works differently, and you have to.
That's a reasonable enough explanation for anybody.
Yeah. But when you're a parent, you want the best things for your child.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I'm in therapy, so I'm not as funny as I used to be, but I realized that it was a lot of my father's, you pour your insecurities into your kid. You pour every fear you have into your kid, not on purpose. You just fucking do. You know what I mean? And when it's that's where the motivation came from. Trying to get him to the outbursts, the big outbursts were when he was 5. Trying to know what to do with that is tough, and it I'm rambling now because I'm uncomfortable and embarrassed of my behaviors. Yeah. That's why.
Well, I'm gonna have to stop right there because I want to tell you actually that with your story, why is it feeling guilty? I get it because my mother, for I think it was a long time, very short written. She went through a period of she thought her life was over because in her brain she thought, "What is going to happen to what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be a caregiver 24/7? I'm going to have to brush my son's teeth his whole entire life. Can he not live independently?" The what ifs got to her. So I get it where you were coming from. I really do. And she was scared for me too because she thought, well, is he not going to be able to see outside of the world and not go get a job at Walmart? Because at the end of the day, I definitely want my baby boy to be successful.
Yeah, that's.
But it just may not be what I pictured. And honestly,
I think
who gives a shit?
I think when it comes from the part of a parent wanting to make it better or fix it, or I think that it's a lot more innocent than society in general. Society in general, it's kind of pompous. It's like, oh, we need to fix that, and I want to be part of it, and I'll help you fix it. But as a parent, it's you're just trying to hold up to your end of the bargain, and I don't think there's any malice.
And I think too, even though it's frustrating, the parents are wanting to fix it, and I air quote because I don't like to fix it. Clearly, it's out of love. It's out of love.
Yeah, I think you understand. They don't know what else to do. In their way of thinking, the best thing is to repair or fix what is not in line with whatever. Who's to say? But this isn't one of those situations. It's more about understanding.
Speaking of understanding, what's the weirdest or like most clueless thing someone has ever said to you after learning that you were on the autism spectrum?
Oh, he's on a spectrum. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've dealt with that my whole life, dude.
And I was like, there was. I mean, dude, I didn't. My brother was the person who brought it to our attention. We just thought we had a difficult kid. And our brother was telling my father, like he couldn't talk to me because I was too defensive. And, I was pissed at my brother for saying that for 6 months. And then we got him diagnosed, and I was still kind of pissed at my brother. You know what I mean? It wasn't like...
Well, at some point, it also becomes, well, why didn't I say it? If my brother's so damn smart, why didn't I say it?
Well, my brother was a fucking. He was like a school district, like he's a president of the school board. Like he's worked in education most of his life. He's an educator. So it was, he had absolutely. But so your mission is about celebrating success. With autism, what's one personal victory that still, makes you fist pump when you think about it?
Well, okay, so one of the services I offer is motivational speaking, and there's a backstory, but I promise I'll get to the point. I swear. But anyway, I do motivational speaking services, and my first speaking gig ever was in 2022. So this is still barely new. So, and I went to Oklahoma. It used to be my first conference in Broken Arrows, Oklahoma. They got a nice autism clinic there, and that has a conference. Well, while we're there, my mother and I, we meet a vendor who, at the time span, I think they closed down since. I'm not for sure. Don't take my word on it. Mm-hmm. They are a coffee shop, and their job was to literally hire people with autism or special needs. And the owner had two brothers on the spectrum. One of the brothers and I just clicked, right? We became friends instantly. Well, and he spent a lot of time at our booth because we also had a booth because they liked us so much. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to see it because I had to go to the bathroom. But after I came out, my mother was just like smiling. I thought, why are y'all smiles for? Well, apparently, while I was in the bathroom, this young man came to my mother and said, and I quote, "Your son gives me hope."
Oh, man.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
I wish I could have been there to heard it because, dang it.
He might not have been able to say it while you were there. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty. You can meet me. You can say anything in my face.
No, I mean, that's how you are. But then, like, there's some people like I'm. If I feel like if somebody was really meaningful to me, I would want to let them know. But my first thought is, why the fuck would they care what I think? But like your mom would care. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just kind of see that as like maybe he might have strategically waited till you walked to the bathroom to go up to your mom and say
he might have, but I'm the complete opposite. It's so weird. So I, for 15 years, people pleased. It went to the crap hole. Ever since then, I've not been a people pleaser.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered what people have thought of me. I always have.
Sure.
And you could say I am the dumbest, most bitchiest person alive. I'm not going to care. I'm not. I got too much other shit to deal with to care about what others think of me. And I definitely want to know, because in my view, I'm strong enough to hear it. But I know some people are very pompous and pesky sometimes because they don't want to hear it. Because if they do hear it, they think, why not like me? Shut up. You're not going to get everybody to like you.
So it's interesting. Objective thought about outside influence, or outside what the outside opinion is. Do you think that you're uniquely qualified to approach that objectively, to divorce yourself from the comments, to think about them outside of yourself?
You asking me or him?
You.
I think he's asking you.
Oh.
You. I mean.
Well, what do you mean by that exactly? I'm trying to understand where you're going with it.
Like
when you get negative comments, like when
you want to hear the comments, good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah, right.
So, and you said hearing them doesn't bother you. You welcome them. So, do you find that you're emotionally divorced from the comments enough that you can? You can
okay. I get where you're going now. Yes, yes. Because literally, if you've seen wrestling, I'm going to use wrestling terms. There's the baby face and the heel, right? And sometimes the tweener. Well, you can give me a baby face comment, I'm like, yay, woohoo. But these negative, it's like literally, really, and all I do is literally, it's kind of like this. You grab toilet paper with these negatives.
Mm-hmm.
With the next comments, this is what I do. I grab the imaginary toilet paper, wipe my ass with it, throw it out, throw it in the toilet.
Okay. The process of being able to accept what might be viewed as a negative comment objectively.
Right.
Totally.
And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, the comments have been truthful. And it's like, oh, you're probably right on that one. I actually had a friend told me literally one time, because he listened to my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And, he listened to it and liked it. He showed it to one of his former teachers.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't agree with me all the way. And I knew that when making this podcast, not all people were going to agree with me on my standpoints. Some of them are lunatic, batshit crazy. So I was like, all right, that's not my problem.
Yeah, we don't get many comments, and if we ever get a bad one, I'm probably going to take a bath with a toaster. I'm not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, literally.
But,
don't light yourself up with a torch.
That's right. But yeah, you've interviewed some big names like Temple Grandin and fucking Mick Foley, Mankind. Holy shit! But has anyone ever left you starstruck or speechless?
Well, there is one. So I'm kind of in a country area. One of the things I like, there are country shows, kind of country redneck-ish. One of the shows that I got to watch as a kid, this really helped me throughout my childhood, is called The Smoking Gun. True TV presents World's Dumbest. And how they have all these different categories of like World's Dumbest Inventions, Criminals, World's Dumbest
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Okay. Well, get where I'm going with this. So one of the guys, I'm not a particularly fan of stand-up comedians or things like that, but there are two on there that I really liked. Judy Gold and Brad Loakley. My mom actually liked Judy Gold better than Brad. I like Brad better than Judy. But I got to have Judy Gold on the show, which was awesome because she's a mental health advocate. But then the one guy who helped me on television watching him, because he could make my day after school better, Brad Loakley.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, after 15, I still watch it. And then I realized I could create some with this, because I go in this term of Brad is an accepting human being. I did my little research on him. Left him an email, responded, had him on the show.
So
that was the moment I was starstruck because I'm like, this guy I watched on the show has helped me mentally through my life. Now my hero, or one of my heroes, or one of the funniest guys alive, is on this computer.
on it's in 2 weeks we're going to be interviewing somebody, one of the main persons from the Whitest Kids You Know. Are you familiar?
Nah, right now.
Oh, well, it was a sketch comedy show back in the late 2000s that I'm like giddy about. You mentioned, being giddy about that, and that's exactly what happened with this guy. I just kind of emailed him. But
and we just talked about how Matt's not sure he can control himself.
Well, I'm also kind of giddy with the fact that I've had all these wrestlers on, and I'm friends with a lot of them. Mick Foley,
that's awesome, dude.
I'm friends with him. Every time we have a big wrestling convention in Indianapolis called the Squared Circle Expo, and he's usually there, so I can always chat up with him.
Can he still walk?
Yeah, he can still walk.
He can still.
He definitely has days though where
I have watched that dude get the shit kicked out of him. I've watched that dude get carried off. But I mean, okay, some wrestling is rehearsed. Some of it's kind of staged. But I have watched Mick Foley get his ass. You can tell he got his ass beat.
Well, wrestling in our day wasn't as fake. I shouldn't say.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't as rehearsed and well coordinated as it is today. They actually pick up a steel chair and whack. You're
going to beat the shit out of each other. One of you is going to win. You win.
Yeah.
But dude, Mick Foley, that's incredible. I can't believe that dude's still ticking.
And the funny thing is too, he had a car crash recently, and he left with a minor concussion.
Jesus, he's tough as shit, dude. One of the toughest guys.
This guy is like Superman. He's one of the toughest sons of bitches out there.
He's got no shape. He looks like me. He looks like I did 5 years ago. Just a big fat just gets his ass pounded. But now I guess one thing that I know, and Mike and I are quite familiar with, is podcasting can be exhausting. How do you keep from burning out while running a show and a nonprofit, all tied to your personal story?
Well, the money's one thing, but another thing is I would just say the incredible people I meet, because each time is a different story I get to hear. I mean, Mick Foley and the latest episode you had, or I put out there, Rating Smith, 2 different stories, right?
Sure.
Right, very much. Very. You've had guests come from all walks of life. What's one common thread you've noticed between people living with neurodiversity, regardless of their fame or background? Is there one common thread that you've noticed? Is there one, thing that binds everyone together?
I think it's honestly with autism wise, this is most autism people, because it depends on who you are, because some of those with autism have mindsets of 10-year-olds, and sometimes they can be quite lazy. Not all. I'm not saying everyone on the spectrum is lazy. It's just there's some out there who I met are they don't like to seek employment, which is a problem because 85% of people on the spectrum are very much unemployed. And that's the battle I have to fight every day. But there's also a humongous population of autism that gets shit done.
Yeah.
Temple Grandin's quote, if I remember correctly, if you got rid of the autism trait, you would have a bunch of cavemen sitting in the cave bonking each other with clubs because they sometimes don't get shit done because of the way they think. Not saying that people are stupid, trust me. Sometimes they are, though. I'm not gonna lie. But sometimes just the way they think is in the box, just sometimes can't solve a problem. but someone with autism might be able to because they're out of the box and they get shit done. Period. They don't care how long it takes. Like, I've had to work on a project before, and I'm a lot better at this, but I used to literally not eat, sleep, drink until a podcast was edited.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to focus.
No.
You do anything else until a podcast.
No, my mindset was literally like podcast episode, editing that. I'll eat my
So what's your process? Like how often do you record?
Every 13 days. Really, that's what I thought was fair. It used to be 13, but then for my mental health it was 16. But then sponsors, well, actually take that back. It was 16, but then sponsors kind of started complaining, so I went to 13 days, and now I'm back at 16 to give me more time, and that's worked a lot better for me.
Okay. So we went from 16 to 13
and back to 16.
But we could just have chosen a fortnight for, like 2 weeks. It'd be 14 days. Why not like every 13 days is a different day of the week every.
Yeah, it is. But I think it would work out the most. I mean, I thought 14 and 15, but it's too off-putting, so I just went with 13.
So what do you do so when you record every 13 days, right? And then you how long is the editing process for you?
Well, it depends. It truly depends. A lot of times, the ones where I'm blabbing out and speaking are a lot quicker to edit. But my interviews are sometimes longer because people like to talk a lot.
Yeah.
But I try to make it as much as work as I can. Sometimes it has taken me a day and it's done. Sometimes it takes me 2 days. Sometimes it's taken me half a day. It all depends on the content and how long people talk and the way they speak. Because I'm very nitpicky with my editing. Very nitpicky. So I'm a guy who's a very big time perfectionist, which also comes with autism. I will edit every every and I can, make the amplitudes as perfect as I can. It's a process.
Put silence back so it doesn't sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
You do that, don't you? Because I do that. I take silences out and tighten things up, and then I put
Put silences back because it doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
I had to edit some dead air before, trust me. And sometimes the dead air is just from the chair behind me to my forehead.
I have a setup in Audacity to automatically take 69% of the silence out of our show when I edit it.
Okay, you're gonna show me that.
Yeah, but that's the only editing we do. That's it.
That's not true.
If I say something really off-putting, we'll take that out. That's about it. Or you'll put jackass noises over me.
Sometimes.
But we do this live to tape. Like right now, we're live on YouTube, and then this will come out Saturday on all the podcast formats, and it'll sound very similar, except for 69% of the silences, or the silence had been cut by 69%. Mm-hmm. And you can choose whatever you want. It's just we are eternally 15 years old, and 69 is a funny number. That's it. That's why we chose that number. That's it. But if autism were a music genre besides rock, what would it be and why? Who the fuck would know?
I'm gonna say that question. It's rock. It's rock.
It's always rock.
I don't want to be country, maybe, but obviously the way we speak, we don't come from the hillbilly area, which sometimes is like y'all, yay. And sometimes people with autism don't speak like that. I'm saying that because nothing against hillbillies or anyone like that. They're very much monotone speakers, sometimes with an extended vocabulary. And rock and roll, sometimes I like to combine it to autism because of the lifestyle to a point. Sometimes a lot of people on the spectrum are angry. And rock stars, sometimes when they're singing, they sound pissed off and angry.
Oh yeah.
Common thread for you. And then sometimes too, let me try to think of a way to word this here. And then the way we like our hair up sometimes, and the glam and the style, the stage presence, that can be someone with autism too. Their stage presence is out of the box, like some rock stars. Their what else here? Their hair up can be like someone with autism too. The way they dress, there's just so much combinations, man.
Yeah, Ryan, for one of his, it was a summer camp. Yeah, he did a lip sync presentation, like a lip sync dance and stuff. It was a Linkin Park song. I think it was "Crawling."
Right.
Oh, I know that one. I know that one.
It was fantastic. He did such a good job.
Yeah.
And he was a fucking little rock star. And he likes to bang shit. And I always thought, see, I play bass. I play bass guitar. And my oldest boy plays guitar. And he can sing. He can sing really well. And so I can sing, I feel, really well as well.
Well, okay, so why is your oldest boy not going on America's Got Talent then?
Well, I have no idea. Because
Okay.
well, he went to the University of Pennsylvania and studied politics. And then became,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
and then became a project manager. But and Ryan liked to bang. Ryan, dude, we would buy him drumsticks, and he would just bang on the floor until he literally put a hole in my fucking floor. Like he dug through the carpet, through the wood. He dug a hole with fucking plastic drumsticks. But we couldn't get him to play the drums. I just wanted him to play the fucking drums. That's all I wanted. Because then I could play bass and Matt could play guitar and we could have a fucking band. We could have the coolest. You know what I mean?
Matt and Ricky band, woo!
Right? Be fucking awesome. But the one question here I wanted to get into, you talked a lot of wrestlers. And if you had to choose a wrestling persona for yourself, what would your gimmick be? Would you be the heel? Would you be the villain, or would you be the hero?
It depends on what would fit better for this one. I thought it before actually because I thought that in my spare time, sure. And my name would be Hothead, and the character would be I'm pissed off all the time, screaming, mad, angry, nothing makes me happy. Kind of like those Stone Cold Psycho Sids.
You're just angry and you want to take it out on people.
John Moxley now, the way they call him. Right. I'm trying to think of who else that he would consider kind of that style. Evil, vicious Kane, kind of almost. It would kind of be like a Dean Ambrose / Psycho Sid combined with an evil, malicious, Kane or Undertaker, to say the least.
All right, that's a. I mean, I figured he had
Tommaso Ciampa. It'd be Tommaso Ciampa almost, and his heel face turned up 10% decibels.
See that? I knew he thought about it. He had it all in his head. I was going to be. See, I was real fat as a kid, so that was going to be my gimmick, just being real fat.
Well, here's the problem.
That was a good gimmick back then.
Here's the problem with that, buddy. Aston Booker already took that over.
No, yeah, there was so many. There was fucking Bam Bam Bigelow. He was just fat. That's all his fat with tattoos on his head. My brother-in-law was a cousin through adoption of Bam Bam Bigelow. That means they're both dead now, so it doesn't really mean anything. But anyway, looking ahead to the future, man.
Wow.
What is one big goal you're chasing for the Autism Rocks and Rolls podcast in the next year?
Well, the way I want it to be is we've created a great side gig, in my view, but I want to do a full-time gig. I don't want to having to be searching for a job, which, fine, I'll do it. I'm actually having to do that right now because I graduated college. Going really great, by the way, and I'm being sarcastic completely when I say that.
Well, you're graduating college. What are you graduating with? What kind of?
Well, I graduated with an associate's degree in broadcasting. I'm looking for
right
now. But I just wish this right here could be like full-time gig, not side-time gig. I want to do this for a living.
Sure.
If I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be, fantastic. So you want growth and prosperity, basically, and that's pretty fantastic. But so for people who listening, who might be newly diagnosed or figuring out that what their neurodivergent identity, is, what's your go-to piece of advice?
Well, I mean, for people who are neurodivergent, it's going to be kind of a weird one, but it'll get beat around to the point. The longest time I thought people wouldn't find me interesting, right? I would have family that might find me interesting and love me, but I didn't think there'd be a person out there who wasn't mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, Uncle Joe, who thought I was interested. Now I realize bullshit, because I made friends now because they find me interesting. So what I'm trying to say to others who are neurodivergent is someone's going to find you interesting. It may be someone who you wouldn't expect. It might be a World War II veteran. It could be a 9-year-old kid who is on the spectrum or a cerebral palsy. It could be a 10-year-old who has a very unique mind and just does some crazy shit. But he still finds you interesting. That's what I think everyone on the autism spectrum wants. I'm going to assume that's what your son wanted. I'll bring the story up if you don't mind. You talked earlier about your son loving the elderly. Okay, guess what? The elderly find him interesting. Yeah.
Because the elderly are discarded by most young people. Mm-hmm. They're not paid attention to by most young people. So when a young person comes up and pays and asks questions and wants to know, a lot of old people are just willing to share the time.
Yeah,
just willing to have that ridiculous conversation about Darren McGavin. My son loves Darren McGavin. Do you know who fucking Darren McGavin is, Sam?
Absolutely.
No. Have you ever seen A Christmas Story?
I have seen A Christmas Story, actually.
He plays the father.
A Christmas movie.
He's the old man. He plays the father in A Christmas Story.
Okay.
He's also the father in Happy Gilmore. He also did a show called Kolchak, which is kind of like an early version of X-Files, where he was a detective. He was a newspaper reporter. He had two movies. He had two movies out in 1972 and 1973. Ask me how I know all fucking this, Sam. He also had he has a movie out called Freebird 1975, which is about in 1970. It was a futuristic film that was set in It was a futuristic film set in 1975. Let me repeat that again. It's a futuristic film set in 1975,
which means it was made before
the United States is completely out of gasoline. And nobody's allowed to drive, but Darren McGavin plays a guy who drives a Camaro, and that's what he does. He goes and gets gasoline and drives a Camaro, and all of the cops are on motorcycles, and they try to stop him
from driving his Camaro.
Right. Now, it's a futuristic film from 1970. What I love about films pre-1980 is when cops show up, they just start shooting. They don't know what's going on. They just start shooting.
Shoot at it.
And in all seriousness, that's a big problem right there. The law
No, it is a big problem. But back in, you got to understand that we watch a TV show now. When you see a cop discharge their weapon, you see the cop go through, being
disarmed and
being disarmed and really feeling it. And he had and feeling bad about having to take a life or to shoot another person. You see that, but in the 70s, it's just they just shot everybody.
Oh, I get it. It's kind of like Terminator. Bam, 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 bam. Okay,
they weren't waiting for the cars to stop. They were getting out and tripping because the car hadn't stopped all the way.
Dude, there's an old Batman serials from the 1930s that you can find on Roku.
Yeah.
They're the most racist goddamn things you've ever seen.
Oh, shit.
Where Batman's fighting the Japanese.
Oh, wow.
But they shorten it.
Yeah.
And but the cops just show up and start shooting at everybody. And anyway, I got way off track there.
Oh, you're good. Trust me. I had a joke with my friends once. I like the 1969 Batman series with Adam West.
The Adam West Batman.
In college, and basically said that there's no way Adam West did that without either A, high, without being high, or B, drunk.
So I just watched a great doc on Hulu about Adam West. I think it was Hulu. And you're right. He was, by his own admission, having a real good time playing Batman.
All right, so we've got this bonus quick fire round here. I got some questions. It's kind of like a what would you rather, or either or type of thing. So who would win in a steel cage match, Temple Grandin or Mick Foley?
Oh shit. Really?
I think that'd be Mick Foley probably.
Yeah, but Temple's gonna put up a fight. Temple's gonna put up a fight.
Dr. Grandin's pretty tough.
All right. Well, I mean, Mick Foley's.
Here's the deal. She's been bullied with bull testicles on her car. That's a strong woman right there.
Yeah. All right. Podcasting or public speaking? What would you rather do? Well,
if I had to pick, I mean, clearly podcasting because it's getting me somewhere, but more than public speaking, but public speaking too. That's kind of a tie.
All right. What is your? Go ahead.
Best snack while editing audio.
Best what? Sorry.
Snack while you're editing audio.
Oh, best snack while I'm editing audio. Well, I have to say, Twinkies.
Twinkies. That's what?
That is a very Midwest answer.
But that's a good snack for editing audio because you think about it.
It's quiet.
Cheetos, Doritos, Fritos. They put that shit all over your hands. You get it all over the mouse. You get it all over the keyboard. Twinkies, you get maybe a little bit of grease, but if you hold it by the wrapper, this kid knows what he's doing. All right. What's your biggest podcasting pet peeve?
Oh, biggest podcasting pet peeve. So there's a lot with mine. Mine is later. Okay, so they say something, right? And they talk about this whole spiel about, okay, they got hit by a boat, right? Well, then later on, 30 minutes down the road, they repeat the same story again. And it's like, I've already heard this, dude. I've literally already heard this. You don't need to tell me again.
Do you stop people?
I don't stop people.
Dude, you ever heard of an actor called Darren McGavin?
I'm a jerk. That's the whole story.
Darren McGavin. You ever heard of Darren McGavin? My kid's obsessed with Darren McGavin. Talks about Darren McGavin all the fucking time.
It's the first time you said it.
Excuse me. Do say something. I got a call.
Go right ahead. No, let's see. What else do we have? Was your pet peeve? Favorite rock band?
Hey, Batman's not the only one getting high right now.
No, it's well, I guess it's related to it, but I wasn't smoking at the moment. What's your favorite rock band there, Sam?
What's the tie between AC/DC and Nickelback?
That's a ballsy answer, my friend. Nickelback.
Yeah, people say hey, and I'm thinking you guys are idiots because Nickelback is good.
They're very good. They're very formulaic. They're very they know exactly what they're doing.
Yes. It's very calculated.
It's very all their songs are very good. I was in cover bands. I had to play a lot of those fucking songs. This is how you remind me. I played that song 1,000 times. Every chick in the bar wanted to hear that. They wanted to hear Photograph. What's that other fucking hit they had?
I can't remember.
Be a rock star. 15 count. My favorite line is that I'm going to take my pills from a Pez dispenser.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Rockstar.
Yeah.
I saw them. I saw them live in Cleveland.
I want to see them live, but unfortunately, the last time they came around to Indy, we already had paid tickets to go see ZZ Top and Leonard Skinner, and that one triumphed.
Oh shit! Yeah, I would. Oh, fuck.
I saw ZZ Top.
We've seen them about. I've seen them twice in concert, but my mother and father have seen them a lot more. Trust me, I think over 3 times.
The same night I saw ZZ Top, I also saw Ted Nugent, and I think it was Kenny Wayne Shepherd was fronting Double Trouble. Stevie Ray Vaughan's old band.
I saw Korn 3 times.
Oh God, I've never been a Korn guy.
You ever been? The first Korn concert I went to was on. This is late 90s. It was the Life is Peachy tour. They just came off their debut album. They're touring the new album. They opened up with Blind. It was a wave of humanity. I got pushed up against a pillar in the Electric Factory. We almost suffocated. Then when I got into the pit, my pants were like falling down. I was wearing black jeans and my pants were falling down a little bit, and I got knocked over and I couldn't get up. And I got kicked in the head 16 times until
you counted.
Yes, a skinhead.
2, 3, 4.
A skinhead was kind enough to pick me up by my collar and my belt and throw me out of the pit to safety.
I was gonna say, nice guy.
He was a nice guy.
That would probably be that man. That would probably be me. I'd probably been the guy like, all right, come here. Except I might be nicer to pull up his pants for him.
That's like the nicest thing you can do for somebody in that position.
And I saw Marilyn Manson a bunch of times too. I saw Guar a bunch of times, but
Marilyn Manson. I'm going to be honest with you. I like his music, but personality, weird.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this was early. This was early Manson. This was like the first album, and this is again at the Electric Factory. And we had these little kids come up. Like I was like 19, and I'm 6'3", and I was 400 pounds, and all my friends were about my size. And these kids, these like 12-year-old kids, what are they doing at this show? First of all, come up to us, and they want us to throw them on top of the crowd.
Hey, would you?
They're like, hey, they're tugging on my shirt, and they're like pulling. So I hit my friend Scott, Scott's 3 inches taller than me.
Right.
And we grab this kid by his belt, and we go 1, and we huck him. And dude, like Moses parted the Red fucking sea. These people just went like this, and that kid went bam and hit the fucking ground. And Scott were like, holy shit! This girl we were with goes over, picks him up, takes him over to like there was like stands to the side.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
2 minutes later, his friend comes up. He goes, "Do me." We're like, what? So
you did.
This kid, and we hawk him. Now, nobody parted, so he hits this guy in the back. It takes him down.
Oh.
So me and Scott just walked both 2 different ways.
See, I think what was going on here is maybe you gave the first crowd too much notice.
Right. Yeah.
And the second time, maybe not quite enough.
Yeah. So then.
It's crazy, too, because I've seen kids go to Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper concert. Oh, boy. But okay, whatever. That'd
be great. But
I did see those 2 combined. That was a badass concert. Unfortunately, though, I was sick that concert, but I didn't give a shit. I was having a blast.
So just to finish up this story, me and Scott meet back up almost where we were.
Right.
Right? The first fucking kid comes up and wants to try again.
That kid's got some balls. That kid's got some big ass balls.
Hey,
me and Scott looked at each other because it's so much fun to throw children.
Right. Hey, mister.
You have no idea how much fun it is hucking a kid just as hard as you can.
Willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly.
Over your shoulder. It sounds silly.
It's a shit pile of fun. But
I'll tell you this too. Some of these concerts I'm surprised these kids go to because there's this band called the Moonshine Bandits my dad introduced me to, if you watch their shit, all they're talking about literally are tits and ass. Well, when I'm looking, who's there? Bunch of bikers, like I expected. And there also happens to be an 8-year-old kid there, I would say.
Yeah, it's amazing what, well, that's the wonderful thing about living in the land of the free. You can do shit like that with your kids. You know what I mean?
That is fair.
It's your kid. You can do whatever you want with them.
Yeah, you can hawk him apparently.
No, you can't huck your own kids. That's against the law. You go to jail for that. You can huck other people's kids though.
Yep.
Especially if they ask you to. Well, when you're 19, you don't really care. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do it because I'm 48 and can go to jail. 49 and can go to jail.
No, that's all. I think you break your back too, buddy.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Oh, okay. Not doing that anymore.
Now, Sam, let me ask you this question: Has any kind of hemp product been introduced into your therapies? Do you partake in any kind of like CBD, cannabinoid?
CBD, no, not really.
No?
I used to do a lot of speech therapy and occupational therapy.
Yeah,
but I'm more pro-medicated with ADHD than autism. I hate medicine that does with autism because you're trying to take it away, and that pisses me off big time. But I do believe in medication for ADHD because if you don't, it sees these Fs for the children. Them. But so I do take medication. Excuse me. Now I think I'm taking a smoke. Apparently. Anyway, I probably take a certain medication that helps me focus more. I probably shouldn't reveal it on air just because of doctor privacy. Here's the thing: we are sponsored by a hemp retailer, so I was trying to.
You segue into the ad.
I was trying to segue into an ad. Because at
folks, we'll be right back. Here from this ad. There you go.
At Botana Organics, we believe in wellness starts with the best nature has to offer. That's why we're committed to quality, carefully selecting every product to ensure it meets our highest standards. Our premium hemp, CBD, and THC products are organically grown, lab tested, and made with the cleanest ingredients. No shortcuts, no compromises. From calming oils to delicious gummies and soothing creams, every item is crafted to deliver the most optimal benefits for your body and mind. We take pride in our work, sourcing the finest cannabinoids to support your well-being, because you deserve products that are as pure and effective as they are safe. Experience the difference that thoughtful curation and premium quality can make. Visit Botana Organics today, where wellness is always grown with care. Botana Organics, cultivating wellness naturally. Visit us at 3650 Silverside Road, Wilmington, Delaware, 19810, or check us out on the web at www.botanaorganics.com.
I was scrolling like a madman to get to that tag, and you went and read it.
I'm sorry. I like to steal the show. That's kind of my thing. But Sam, I hope you had a good time. I want to thank you for your time. We really appreciate you coming on the show. You got any like last words that you want to kind of shout out to anybody listening?
Well, I think these are just words of wisdom, and not words of wisdom, just the truth of life. If the world could be nice and not act so, well, I can actually say the non-clean version this time. Woo. Anyway, if the world could be nice and not act so goddamn stupid, I think it'd get along so much better, don't you think?
I do. If we weren't such a pack of assholes, life would be a lot better.
Yeah,
but
it really would.
We're a pack of assholes, and especially the States. We're a different breed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
We're literally jackasses without the stunts.
Yeah, no, that's kind of it. We're just we have to learn to be kinder to each other. And one thing, this is what I've noticed with children, people who are on the spectrum. If you can listen to what the words they're using, as opposed to their inflections and their mannerisms, you'll have a much better time. Mm-hmm. If you worry about how the kid's responding to you all the fucking time, you know what I mean? That was part of my thing. It's just dealing with the words, not so much reading emotion into their voice. Because your interpretation is nowhere near what they meant to say. Most of the time.
Well,
it's kind of that's my takeaway. That's what I would like. That's the wisdom I would impart to most people, having to, when engaging with somebody who is neurodivergent. I don't know if that's
just be open and respectful is usually the easiest way to get by. I mean, I think something that's always interesting to me. The night that Tina and I met Ryan, when we all went to the Mike, and like we just kind of were there, and I know you had mentioned, hey, Ryan's going to be with me, and kind of prepped me for, hey, I've got my son with me.
Yeah, he says some weird stuff. Yeah.
But like, I didn't, I was just there and interacted with him. Just, it was just honest, being in a space with somebody else. And we get along.
Those on a spectrum, I'll be honest, have said some of the craziest stuff alive. And sometimes I'm thinking, wow, did he just say that? Yeah, I did, because it's the truth, asshole.
Well, yeah, that's depending on where you fall on the spectrum. Truth sometimes is one of those things.
Oh yeah, truth and right and wrong and all that fun stuff.
So how many stereotypes do you fall into that you're just like, oh man,
a lot, where I'm like, you've got to be shitting me.
I know one of the big ones is trains. How do you feel about trains?
That's something I didn't fall in love with, but I can confirm that one is kind of a true myth, kind of a true one, because I have 2 friends who are into trains.
It's funny to me that it's one of the things that every neurodivergent person I've seen or come in contact with that jokes about their neurodivergency always has a train joke somewhere.
Dude, you know what? I would pay my kid money to be interested in dinosaurs. All I want to do is watch fucking Jurassic Park movies. My kid has no interest in fucking dinosaurs. I fucking love dinosaurs, man. What the fuck?
No, he's into Darren McGavin.
Yeah. If Darren McGavin had a dinosaur movie, we'd fucking watch that shit, dude.
What do you know about Burt Reynolds?
Maybe call Darren McGavin, see if we can get his publicist and ask him to film me the next Jurassic Park.
Well, he died. He's dead. Oh. And
you get a skeleton.
Here's the thing. He died on my wife's birthday. So my wife's birthday is now overshadowed in my son's mind
by
the death of Darren McGavin. And every time she brings up, like we bring up her birthday,
he gets sad.
He reminds everybody that's the day that Darren McGavin died.
Happy birthday, Mom! Oh, Darren McGavin died. That's
right. Well, it's his stepmother, but still, it's.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah. So, but Sam, listen, man. You've gained a listener. I enjoy your podcast. I really like it, and I will be checking it out more. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us and being so open and honest, and a really good time.
Not a problem, brother. I had a blast, man.
I'm glad you did.
I'm glad we got to chat, and I'm always open around. If you want me ever back, give me a holler.
Yeah, I do. I definitely want to have you come back. If you would just shoot your email address over to me on the messenger that we have, so that I can keep in contact with you. Because I don't know if I'm going to be sticking around with the thing. So, all right. But that's again, I want to thank you for coming on. Thanks for giving us your time. You can check out the Autism Rocks and Rolls podcast anywhere you find finer podcasts.
I found it on Spotify. It's real easy.
Yeah, I found it on Spotify too. And you can also search Sam Mitchell and listen to other shows that he's been on, if you enjoyed him as a guest.
I'm going to have to stop you there. Don't search Sam Mitchell, because apparently there's other Mitchells, and there have been that are basketball player named Sam Mitchell. Apparently, the search engine optimization gets very confused with that. So if it were me, I'd recommend searching Sam Mitchell, Autism Rocks and Rolls, or just Autism Rocks and Rolls.
There you go.
Hey, feel free to search that too.
Yeah, no, I Googled you up, and it was like the first thing was one of your, I don't remember what show it was, but it was one of your guest appearances, and I listened to it, enjoyed it thoroughly. So yeah, thanks, man. And I think that's it for us, man. That's the end of what we're doing.
All
so,
right.
Sam, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it, and we'll keep in touch, dude.
All right.
Okay, my
I'm
friend.
gonna play us out of here. Thanks for joining us on 242. This is the B Block. This episode of the Media Virus Podcast is brought to you by 302-46 Voice. That's 302-46 Voice. If you want my voice on your project, dial 302-46 Voice today. Don't forget to check out our sister show on the Media Virus Podcast Network, Stepmoms Without Children. Join Ricky Rockdeff as she takes a deep dive into the fascinating people she meets and thinks that you should meet too. Find Stepmoms Without Children at themediavirus.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your fine podcasts. Special thanks to mysportsreports.com and delawaresports.com, delivering regional sports coverage straight to your devices via stream and podcast. Learn more at mysportsreports.com and delawaresports.com. If you wish to sponsor the Media Virus Podcast, email your contact information to pml@themediavirus.com with the subject line sponsor, or leave us a message at 646-VIRUS01. On behalf of the infection team and our feckless leader, Maddie Rockdeff, I'm the Reverend Professor Mike Latoris, coming to you live high atop Uncle Butch Studios, with one hand firmly on the pulse and the other clawing for a shred of sanity. This has been the Media Virus Podcast. We'll be back next week. Find us at themediavirus.com, on social media, or download us now from your favorite podcast platform. And we're clear.
I just